I want to teach you a technique to process your fears. This is a feng shui cure or enhancement that is designed to help you transmute your fears into gratitude. Now, I'm not the first feng shui consultant or teacher to suggest that you use a gratitude bowl or a gratitude box, which is what this technique is called. But I am the first person to use it as a way to transmute fears. So what you're going to do is that you're going to get a bowl or a box that is made of ceramic, preferably, or made of wood with a ceramic inlay. So there's some ceramic in it. Any bowl will work, but if you get a square box, it's going to be better. Because gratitude in feng shui, it's associated with the earth element. And the shape of the earth element is the square. And the material of the earth element is ceramics. And so if you can get a box that has a square shape and some ceramic on it, that is great. And I do have one actually in my store. I have a gratitude box that is made of wood. It's square and then it has a ceramic onlay with an image that I painted that is called Home for the Holidays, and it has the word gratitude on it. So if you can use that one, it's great. Otherwise, use what you already have at home. Here's what you're going to do. First of all, whenever something wonderful happens in your life, write a note of thanks for it. So for example, today I went to a wonderful lunch with friends of mine in the International Cooking Club. It was a beautiful, beautiful experience. So I come home and I write down, thank you. And I use the term God. You could use creator, whatever you want to use according to your faith. You could say, thank you, life. Thank you, universe. And so I say, thank you, God, for the lunch at the International Cooking Club meeting and all the good friends and the fun times. And I fold that piece of paper and I put it in the gratitude bowl. That's one way to use a gratitude bowl. You could also do that in a gratitude journal, right? That's the one way you use the gratitude bowl. The second way you use the gratitude bowl is for manifesting things. So for things that you want to have happen in your life. You have heard a lot of people, they teach you to use affirmations and to say your affirmations in the present until you can feel it like you have already transported yourself to a time and to a reality where what you want to see happen has already happened. But the problem with that is when you use the present tense to give thanks for something that you want to happen that hasn't happened yet, that is technically a lie. And your body doesn't like lies. Your body responds negatively to lies. Your body is like a lie detector. And so the second way you can use the gratitude bowl is that when you want something to happen, you use the gerund, the ing ending, to say your affirmations instead of saying them in the present. So for example, one of the things that I want to do is that I want to be able to do pull-ups and chin-ups. And I've been working on it for a while because my upper body strength was almost null at some point. And so I've been working on it. Right now, I can hang from that bar for 20 seconds. When I first started, I couldn't even hang from the bar. And so going from 0 to 20 seconds is fantastic, but I still can't do a pull-up. I still can't do a chin-up. So I can say an affirmation that, if I said, I am strong, I have really strong upper body, and I do pull-ups and chin-ups with ease and confidence. That is a lie. That it would be wonderful if that was true, but that's not true at this point. However, I can use the gerund and I can write a note that says, thank you, dear God, because I am on my way to being able to do pull-ups and chin-ups. Or you could say, I could say also like, thank you, dear God, because every day I'm doing a little something to get on my objective of doing pull-ups or chin-ups. Or I could say, thank you, God, for helping me get to this end result that I want. I could say, thank you, God, for helping me become so strong that I can do pull-ups and chin-ups easily and with confidence. You see the difference? So when you're using the ing, Or when you use terms like because I'm on my way to, because I'm heading towards, those things are true, because it is true that every day I'm doing a little something to become stronger in my upper body. It is true that every day I get closer to this goal of being able to do pull-ups or chin-ups, right? And so the third way to use the gratitude wall is how you actually are going to transmute your fears into gratitude. And this is called processing your fears. So this is my contribution. Number 2 and number 3 are my contributions to using a gratitude bowl. So number 3, when you're afraid of something, you write a note that says the opposite of what you're afraid of. For example, if you're afraid that you might lose your job, you write down, thank you, God, for job security. If you are afraid that you might have a health condition, you write, thank you, God, for robust health, right? And so if there's anything that you are afraid is going to happen that is making you nervous, is making you anxious, you write down the opposite, right? Because and in this case, you are not lying, because when you're worried, when you're afraid, you're not worried or afraid about things that are happening in the present. You're worried and afraid of things that could happen in the future. Maybe even if that future is later today, but you're always worrying and fearing about things that will happen in the future. Fear is a feeling that kind of projects you into the future in a negative way. And so if you are afraid of something that could happen in the future, instead of leaning into that fear, instead of giving in to that fear, you write down the opposite. And that helps you get out of the fight or flight setting of your nervous system. So it's fight, flight, freeze, fawn. That is the 4 F words that you use for this. And it is the part of your nervous system that is in charge of keeping you alive in case of emergencies. And so when that part of your nervous system is on, it shuts down the part of your nervous system that is involved in thinking, clear thinking, reflection, right? And also growing and healing. And so when you are afraid or worried, anxious all the time, you are shutting off the part of your body that would take care of your healing, of growth, and also the part of your nervous system that connects to your brain so you can think properly. So you process your fears. So for example, if somebody is afraid that some tests are going to come back with bad news. Say, for example, they went to the doctor and they had a mammogram, and they're afraid that that mammogram is going to produce bad results. And so the fear is, I'm afraid that I may get the news that I have an illness, right? And so you turn it around and you write down your note. Thank you, dear God, because you bless me with robust health. And that is going to get you out of that fight or flight condition so you can think more clearly. Now, does this mean that you're magically going to be free of all illnesses? No, those tests might still come back with bad news for you, right? So, for example, you go to a mammogram today and you're getting the results next week. During the time that you wait, you can be completely free of fears by processing your fears in this way. Now, say that next week you go to the doctor and the doctor tells you everything is clear, you are fine, you are healthy, there's no problem here. Then you're fine, right? You didn't waste a week of your time suffering. Now, say that is the opposite. Say that you go to the doctor and the doctor tells you, we are not seeing things that we like on this mammogram and you need to do more tests. Or the doctor could tell you, hey, this is bad news, right? First of all, you have spent a week in peace. And the week that you have spent in peace gives your body a chance to start healing. And then if the doctor gives you bad news, you're going to have these terrible fears come in, right? or pop up. And then it might be, I'm going to die and leave my children motherless. Maybe have a serious illness that's going to be very painful. My family is going to be bankrupted by medical bills, right? So at that point, you process your fears again. If you are afraid that you are going to die, you write a note for the opposite. Thank you, dear God, for blessing me with a long life. If you're afraid that medical bills are going to bankrupt your family, you write a note that says, thank you, dear God, for guiding me and my family to meet all of my medical needs in the way that is for all of our highest good. So do you see how that works? It's independent of the events of your life. If you can go through any event in your life free of fear, you're going to be happier. And you're going to be able to make better decisions. So if you get some medical news that are not ideal, if you immediately go into fear, you're going to make dumb decisions. You're going to let other people railroad you. You may be rushed into making decisions, and that wouldn't be good. You need to take your time. You need to make good decisions. You need to make decisions that come from thinking, not from fear. Okay? And so no matter what life throws at you, if you have this habit of transmuting your fears into gratitude, you're going to put yourself in that state where your body helps you think more clearly, where you can heal, where you can grow, and your life is going to be better. Your prognostic for any kind of situation that you are facing is going to be better if you can go through it without fear. I chose especially, this example of the mammogram because I wanted to show you the power of this technique. And at some point I was thinking maybe I shouldn't use something so scary, right? But scary is the point. In life, there are going to be things that are scary, and you need to confront those situations without fear, right? And so some people talk about clearing your fears, and you can clear your fears, but they will come back. And then you'll have to clear them again and again and again. But if you process your fears by transmuting them into gratitude, they don't come back. A different version of them may come up, but they don't come back in the same way that they did originally. And the more you do this, the more you practice, the more you learn to stay in a state of happiness and peace. Now I have a confession to make. Recently, somebody was asking me, so how did you come up with this idea to process fears through a gratitude box or bowl? And I was thinking, well, I know that I recorded a video about it. I gave a lecture at a church about it in 2012, so it had to be at least 2012. And then I thought, no, my first gratitude bowl was in Mississippi when I lived in Mississippi, and that I left Mississippi in the year 2000 or 2001. So it had to be at least 2001, 2000. And so that's what I told this person, probably around the year 2000. It just came to me. I just had this inspiration. So I went to sleep. You know how sometimes in the morning you wake up with certain thoughts or certain memories? So the next day I wake up with the memory of my grandmother. And I realized I did not come up with this way to process fears. This is how my grandmother prayed. I got that morning, so many memories came back to me of times when I saw my grandmother was starting to get worried, was starting to get fearful, and then she would say, "No, nope, that's not it." And then she would use this term. She would say, "That's not how the Lord works. That's not how God works." And as soon as she said something that was negative, that was fearful or worrisome, she would say, "No, that's not how the world is, because that's not how God is." And then she would rephrase her fears and transmute them into gratitude, and she would do a prayer of gratitude. So I got it from my grandmother. Now, sometimes people, when they're writing notes of gratitude, the number one way to use the gratitude box, or when they're asking for things, when they're trying to manifest things in their life, and when they're transmuting their fears into gratitude, sometimes people get hit by superstitious thoughts. So, for example, the second way to use the gratitude bowl, where you're using it to manifest things, and say, for example, that you wanted to double your income. So you say, "Thank you, dear God, because you are guiding me to everything I need to do and be, so I can double my income, right? And superstitious thought may come in, and people start thinking, what if somebody I love has an accident and I double my income through an insurance settlement? And that is really, really negative, right? And so, to prevent those kinds of superstitious thoughts from intruding in your mind, I use a phrase that is from highest source for highest good. From highest source for highest good. So at the bottom, at the end of every gratitude note, I write from higher source for highest good. And that works wonderfully. And sometimes you can just use the initials, the first initial, the first letter of each of the words in the phrase from highest source for highest good. And that's how that works. So I want you to learn this technique, and I want you to start using it right away. The feedback I have gotten from people who have already started using this technique is just amazing, amazing. People tell me for the first time in their lives they feel peaceful and hopeful. People are reporting they're less anxious. Some people are even reporting that the incidence of episodes of anxiety are reducing in strength and in frequency and in number. And so that is wonderful, wonderful news. This is such an amazing tool. Learn it, use it.